Hey y'all, welcome to my second YouTube video. Here's to being consistent. Well, okay, this was supposed to get uploaded yesterday, but I was having some technical difficulties. So here we are today. And I mean, this will be my second video for the month of February. So for me, that's good, because to go from 0 to 2, that's a bucket. This is gonna be my Q&A video, a little get to know me. I put up a story on my Instagram and asked you guys to ask me some questions for my YouTube. So I picked out 10 or 11 of them. I'm gonna read them and then I'm gonna answer them for you guys. You guys see my little balloons? I got my little Shaylas from TikTok from the flower shop. Something for Valentine's Day that I'm gonna drop off for them. So if you wanna see what it is, make sure you follow my TikTok, Saraye Sunshine, and my Instagram is also Saraye Sunshine. The only other social media that's different is my Twitter account, and it's just because it couldn't fit the E at the end of Sunshine, and it's Saraye X Sunshine. So we're gonna get straight into it. So my first question is, how do you pronounce your name? I'm actually very glad that you asked. So my name is pronounced Saraye, and it's a lot easier than what people make it seem. It's spelled S-A-R-A-Y-E, and my name comes from my mom and my dad basically mushing their names together. So my mom's name is Sky. She spells it S-K-Y-E, and then my dad's name is Ray. Basically, they took the S and the E and then put Ray in the middle, and then you make Saraye. I'd be low-key salty. Oh, also, I do live on a farm, so don't mind if the roosters chat or like to say what's up every now and then. I do get salty when I'm like online or I hear people having similar name to me, because it's just like, there's no way. Like, name was literally thought of in thin air. Like, your mom's name ain't Sky and your dad's name ain't Ray, so why would you have the name Saraye? Just trolling. Yeah, that's how you pronounce my name. Like I said, a lot of people make it more difficult than what it needs to be, but I feel it's pretty straightforward. Also, I was on the phone one time with a customer care service person, I don't know for what reason, and they were like, oh, say and spell your name. So I did, and he was like, oh, it's like Sarah but more exciting. And I was like, you know what, hell yeah, it is like Sarah but more exciting. And I also like to say, like, hooray Saraye, it's like Sarah but more exciting, you know, little things to help you remember if you were to ever forget. Question number 2, what is your ethnicity? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know everything that I am, but when people ask me this question, I generally just say I'm black and white. My mom is black and my dad is mixed with black and white. So that's as far as I usually explain myself to be. I don't know exactly where I'm from though. I do want to take the test to see what all my makeup is, and I think that would be pretty cool. So maybe I'll follow up with you guys on that. Third question, where are you from? I am an Indianimal. I'm from Indiana, and so Northwest Indiana to be exact. I grew up right outside of Chicago, so I'm maybe 30 minutes away from the city without traffic. Gary, Indiana, where Michael Jackson grew up, is where some of my family lives, and I grew up for real, like maybe not too, like 20 minutes away from Gary in Hammond, Indiana. So that gives you like a little general idea of where on the map I grew up at. People ask me where I'm from and I say Indiana, they're always like so dazed and confused. I feel like nobody ever knows where Indiana is, and everybody's always surprised when they see like baddie from Indiana. But Indiana got all the gems. Like, I know so many beautiful girls from Indiana, and I'm just like, that's my home state. We're some Indianimals, but it is what it is. Like, that's the crib though. Question number 4, do you have siblings? I do have siblings. I'm actually the oldest of 6 or 7 including me. So I have 2 sisters and 4 brothers. Question number 5, what sports did you play growing up? Girl, I did any and everything. I swam, I did basketball, track, volleyball, softball. I did soccer at one point. I did tumbling, and I was in cheer, and just like everything. Honestly, out of all of the sports that I've played, the one that came most natural to me was swimming, but I chose not to do swimming because who want to deal with their hair? Like, water was always super cold. I hated smelling like chlorine, but in a natural sense, like the sport that if I really would have locked in and developed more skill around, like I would have probably been able to like go to school and get a full ride for it. But I ended up choosing basketball over swimming because in high school, basketball and swimming are in the same season and you can't do both, unfortunately. And with basketball, like, ball is life, but it also broke my heart. So that is a sport that caused me to have an injury. I was on crutches for 50% of my high school career. I stopped playing my sophomore year, and my patella would sublex, and so I had to have like lateral release done. I got screws put in both knees. So yeah, growing up playing sports, like, I wouldn't have traded that experience for the world. I'm so grateful that I got to do that and be a part of teams and reminisce on even when the coaches used to yell at us and get in our ass. Like, we needed that, and it's just like, you're not going to get that on a regular basis. You only get that with the team experience. So I'm just so grateful for those coaches and that they were able to show their passion and their fire and their hearts. Like, you know, we might have been running on the line for no reason when they didn't like have a good day that day. It was just like a little chuckle and get on the line. But I'm so grateful to have had that experience. So I was also involved in theater as well. So I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. My childhood was very busy. Like, I always had practice or an extracurricular going on or something. It was fun. I was busy growing up. Number 6, what is your special talent? I don't really have any that I could think of off rip, but something that I can say I'm good at is parallel parking, which everybody is not good at parallel parking, okay? Learned how to parallel park when I was in undergrad at IU. When I was a freshman, I used to have to park my car like the dorms, and then there was only parallel parking where my dorm was. So I got really good at like in the tightest of spots because nobody can drive for real. So everybody parked horribly, but I was able to squeeze on up in there, okay? I don't remember where I was going, but I got out of my car one time and I was parallel parking somewhere, and the people were like, they're like, you did so good with that. And I was just like, thank you. So I guess you can consider that a special talent because not everybody is good at parallel parking, but your girl is. Okay, so my favorite thing to do, I feel like this is like one of those questions where it's like, what do you do in your free time? Oh, I do rollerblade. Okay, I really like to rollerblade, guys. I talked about this kind of in my last video. It's so fun to me. It's you just pick up and do for fun, like not getting paid to do it. Like, there's no underlying benefit or anything. Like, just so freeing to me. I love to go put on my headphones, listen to a good song or like podcast or something, just be really present in everything that's going on around me. Like, I usually like to go to this park, so there's other people there like playing soccer or hooping or like baseball, so it's really fun to me to go and do that. Like, I hope to one day go somewhere really cool, like to travel and like rollerblade there. I feel like that would be so fire. It's super freeing too. So if you're trying to get into doing something just for fun, rollerblading is tea. But I do understand that it's snowing in some places. I be feeling like everywhere in America like doesn't have snow because I live in Florida, and I'll be forgetting like there's certain things that I do here that everybody can't do right now. The time and the place for everything. So when that season comes back around for you to go rollerblade, do it. All right. Next question. Okay, what's something about you that is weird? Well, I don't think this is weird, but other people might think it's weird. I sleep with socks on. I literally can't sleep comfortably without socks on. So that's something that I've realized is not a shared experience with other human beings, because I've been looked at like, what is wrong with you? Or other people would just be like, that is so weird. Like, I guess they feel trapped. But there's actually benefit to sleeping with socks on because the blood circulation is like better because you're warm, trapped, I guess. But it actually helps you to fall asleep faster. What I don't understand is when people be talking about rubbing their feet together. Y'all crusty feet, you're gonna create a wood fire. What do you mean? Like, why are we talking about rubbing our feet together? That's weird to me, honestly. That has never been an effective strategy for me to be able to go to sleep. I be seeing like tweets or like TikToks where it's like, I'm in bed rubbing my feet together, and I'm just like, you're creating a wood fire. Like, what are we talking about here? So that's something that I do that might be weird to other people, but that's not weird to me. Okay. Question number 9. When did you move to Miami? So I moved to Miami in August of 2020. It was right after I turned 22, in the middle of the pandemic. And the thing is, like, making my move to Miami, like pre-plot to moving here, I didn't tell not a soul. So literally the pandemic happened. right? So I was on a girls trip, spring break, Jamaica. And we're just like, oh, like what's gonna happen? Woo woo. So they end up emailing us and they're like, you're not coming back to school. We'll see you guys in February, basically, because all of us were seniors. This was my senior year of undergrad. So imagine not being able to have a graduation, not being able to have a celebration, like not being able to conclude your senior year. I feel so bad for anyone that was a senior during the pandemic and got to experience that. Even like the high school kids too, because there was no closure to anything. You had to just learn to move on. That was so sad. I think about that sometimes because the school that I went to was like one of the biggest party schools in Indiana. So, you know, there was always something going on, but there was no luvvv, there was no graduation, there was just none of that. And it's just kind of like everybody had to move on, right? Okay, cool. So I was doing my classes there, but then during the pandemic, I dropped a workout challenge, Snatch in 21. You can still go purchase it in my bio. And that was like an outlet for me, and I made so much money, and it was very refreshing in a sense that everybody was so trapped inside the crib at that time. So I would have sweated out Saturdays, and I would have all the girlies on Zoom, and we were just constantly like showing up. I was able to keep my community going. Everything was cool, right? But when the dust all settled, like I was just kind of like, I'm not satisfied here. Like I don't want to be in Indiana anymore. Pandemic made me realize that. I just got this degree. I got my degree in exercise science. So I didn't know whether I wanted to continue on with physical therapy because that was something that I always wanted to go to school for, or just go to a master's program. I don't know. I just kind of like talked to God about it, prayed about it. And he was just kind of like, go apply for grad school. So I was like, okay. So I'm looking for programs, and I see that the University of Miami has a program that I'm interested in. The crazy thing about this is prior to moving here, I'd never been to South Florida except for once, and that was for Rolling Loud, which if you are familiar with like this area, you know that Rolling Loud is usually in Hollywood, which isn't even technically Miami, right? Like it's a little bit ways away. To me, I don't know, I hate that drive. Some people might not think so, but to me, that's like a long drive. So I never even really been to Miami. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, well, I know the weather's nice, like maybe I'll just go to Miami. And then like I kind of got confirmation, and I just applied, and I waited, and I got accepted. And then that's when I let people know, hey, you know, I applied to Miami for grad school, and this is where I'm gonna go get my master's, and I'm gonna move there. And it was a shock to like my family, and I didn't tell my friends, I didn't tell nobody, because I just didn't want anybody like speaking fear into my plans. Not that people don't like want to see me win or that they're not rooting for me. When other people can't see what you see, or like they don't feel like you have a grip on things, I didn't want to hear none of that. It was kind of like one of those things where this is my acceptance letter, this is the reason why I'm going, so I'm gonna go complete this mission, and then we'll see what happens after that. But it was one of the most empowering decisions. Tell me that I could do something blindly with uncertainty as long as I trusted like what God said, you know? So I put my full faith and trust in him. I wasn't able to see my apartment prior to, like, literally when I got here is when I got here. I remember having to stop in Georgia to stay at a hotel. It was like, that drive is like 18 hours or something like that. So I left at 6 a.m. and I drove all the way, and then by 6 p.m. I stopped in Georgia, and then I drove the rest of the way, and it was like maybe like a day and a fourth of another day trip down here. And I stayed in like a hotel a couple nights, and then I was able to see my apartment, and then I moved in, and I've been here ever since. I don't know, I just feel like if you're ever pulled to do something, like even if you're uncertain about it, pray, receive confirmation, and then go and do that shit. Like you can do it. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I didn't know not a single soul here. Now, I hadn't even been here for real, but something in me was just like, make that move. And I was like, bet. And I did it, and I'm so happy that I did it. And yeah, so that's when I moved to Miami. So question number 10, what is your favorite club spot in Miami? This is so funny because I feel like even when I first moved here, especially, everybody from the crib was hitting me up like, oh, like I'm coming to Miami, like let's go to like the hot spots, blah, blah. People do not realize like I be in the crib. Like, I don't do none of that. I'm not gonna say I never have. Of course I have, but it's just like I do not be outside, so I don't know. It's so funny because people like hit me up asking me this question all the time, even now to this day, and I'm just like, I don't know what be going on out there. This girl DM'd me not too long ago and she's like, hey boo, who's your party promoter? I need the vibes for my birthday. And I'm just like, girl, I have no clue. I responded back like, hey, like, I'm sorry, but I don't even know. Like, I don't even got it on me right now. Yeah, y'all, I be in the crib for real, so I couldn't even tell you what club spots. TikTok might know. Question 11, last question, is what advice would you give to girls wanting to move to Miami? Whew. Ooh, girl. Man, I feel like I can do a whole separate video on this topic alone, but I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I would say if you're going to move to Miami, move with intention, and also don't let Miami try to tell you who you are. Those are like my two things. Like, move with intention and don't let Miami try to tell you who you are, because Miami is a very powerful place, and I don't think people realize that. I didn't realize that at the ripe age of 22. I'm here, I'm like, this is my first time being in, you know, like, I went to college and stuff like that, but Miami is different. Miami is its own little world, right? So you kind of have to know who you are and like what you want, or it will tell you. I've lost friends from like Miami telling them who they were, and me realizing like, this is not who I want to be involved with. Like, I feel like people move here and they let it change them. They let Miami like mold them into something that they're not, and that's just from not having a strong head on your shoulders. Miami will tear you down if you're not prepared to handle it for real. And like, all them videos that y'all be seeing on TikTok about how they're like, oh, Miami is where it's at for the pretty girls. Like, you get stuff paid for, you get this, that, and the third, you have all access to everything. Everything that they're saying is 100,000% true. Like, if you're pretty in Miami, you have it made, okay? But a lot of these women are blinded by Chanel bags and spa days and not doing anything else with their life. Like, they lack purpose, they lack passion. And I had to realize that too, because you could get easily caught up in the mix like that. But when you come back home and the dust settles and you're feeling unfulfilled, it's just kind of like, okay, what am I doing really, like, with my life? Like, you know, you get invited to all of these nice places, you're in these huge rooms with all of these like big name people, and like, you're still having to introduce yourself. Like, what are you actually doing? Like, you haven't really done anything. You haven't made a name for yourself. So like, I don't know, I'm not saying that you have to be the biggest person in the room. You should never be the biggest person, the smartest person in the room. But it's just kind of like, dang, like, I had to realize like, I got some work to do. So it's that side of it too, where it really motivates you. But then again, you can get on the other side where like, you're just caught up in the mix and you're just going with the flow and you don't have intention, you don't have vision, like, you know. So and two, making friends out here like that, like, you have to be careful, because a lot of girls come here just to be in people's sections, or, oh, you saw such and such DM me, he's about to be in Miami. Girl, you will get so many DMs from any and everybody. The people that you like put on a pedestal, let me tell you, they are easier access than what you think, okay? Especially living here. Like I said, that could be a whole separate video, but two things: move with intention and don't let Miami try to tell you who you are, and you will be a-okay. Okay, so that's it for my second video. This is my Q&A. If you have any more questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll be reading those. And make sure you guys follow me on all of my socials. My Instagram, my Twitter, and my TikTok will be linked below. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, if there's anything else, I'll circle back around, but I'll touch base with you guys soon. Okay. Love y'all.